When someone falls at a job site, it is easy to view it as a momentary stroke of bad luck. But by digging into the forensic details of fatal OSHA investigation reports, clear patterns emerge behind workplace deaths. Safety investigators approach these sites as forensic puzzles. They look for the specific link in the chain where a multi-layered system of defense was severed. A fatality is the final result of an anatomy of a system collapse. It happens when specific layers of defense break down. At the top, you have hazard recognition. Below that, behavioral boundaries. And at the base, equipment integrity. It takes a specific sequence to reach the ground. First, an exposure to a height. Second, a physical trigger, like a slip or a sudden loss of balance. And finally, the ultimate failure of an arrest system to stop the drop. Preventing a tragedy requires understanding exactly which layer of this system broke down first. Gravity only wins when our protective systems allow it to. The first tier of failure is an absent defense. This occurs when a severe hazard goes entirely unrecognized before the work even begins. Take a January 2023 case. A 59-year-old roofing project manager was inspecting this vacant commercial warehouse for a buyer. He had decades of construction expertise, yet while walking the roof, he stepped directly onto a brittle polycarbonate skylight. It cracked under his weight, and he fell 25 feet to the concrete floor below. OSHA 501 requires protective screens or guardrail systems over skylights. That physical layer of defense was absent, leaving the hazard wide open. The second tier of failure involves human shortcuts. Having the right safety equipment on site is useless if workers circumvent its safe physical boundaries. In Kentucky, a 52-year-old Finnish carpenter was working just 6 feet off the ground, installing ceiling panels from a standard fiberglass stepladder. He held one end of a tape measure and reached outside the side rails of the ladder to get a number. This mechanical error shifted his center of gravity, causing the ladder to tip over. He fell backward, striking the concrete. Whether the drop is a 25-foot roof or a 6-foot ladder, gravity capitalizes on momentary cognitive lapses, either failing to see an exposed hazard or rushing past a safe boundary to save a few seconds. The third and final, and perhaps the most deceptive failure tier in the entire system, is catastrophic equipment breakdown. This tier is especially deadly because specialized gear creates an illusion of invincibility for highly experienced professionals. Consider the case of a 55-year-old telecommunications worker who had well over a decade of high elevation experience. Ascending a 400-foot tower is the apex of vertical risk. Up there, environmental conditions, intense physical exertion, and complex personal fall arrest systems must perform flawlessly. While climbing down, he lost his footing. His ladder safety device failed to activate. The force created a mechanical failure cascade. Sudden tension ripped the chest D-ring entirely out of his harness, dropping him 90 feet. Specialized equipment is only as strong as its weakest inspection point. When mechanical components shear under pressure, 10 years of climbing experience cannot halt a 90-foot fall. Zooming out from these individual tragedies, broader forensic patterns start to take shape across all OSHA investigation reports. This horizontal bar chart ranks the top 3 fall fatality root causes. At number 3 is equipment misuse. Number 2 is access shortcuts. But ranking at number 1, connecting nearly all these fatalities, is the lack of a formalized hazard analysis before the work begins. The ultimate defense against a systemic failure is implementing a strict 30-second pre-job fall check at the start of every shift. It forces a crew to stop and answer 3 questions. Where is the unprotected edge? Is the arrest system fully inspected and intact? And who is the competent person on site today? OSHA safety regulations are written in blood. The rules exist entirely so that future workers do not repeat these exact errors. Systemic failures follow a documented sequence that can be interrupted before the first step is taken. Understanding these patterns provides the power to stop that sequence today. If you want to learn more about workplace safety and OSHA rules, subscribe to HSE Study.